Hello, and welcome to Think. I hope this webcast finds you and your loved ones healthy and safe. I'd like to start by saying that my heart goes out to all of the families dealing with the losses brought on by this pandemic. We all have a lot on our minds. So I'm grateful that so many of you have chosen to spend this time with us. This has been a challenging time for all of us. At the same time, it's been encouraging to see how so many have risen to the occasion. I've seen powerful new partnerships between government, academia, and the private sector form overnight. We have all seen a massive mobilization of corporate capability to join the fight. And I've seen IBMers working around the clock to keep the mission critical system of our clients running. There's no question this pandemic is a powerful force of disruption and an unprecedented tragedy. But it is also a critical turning point. It's an opportunity to develop new solutions, new ways of working, and new partnerships that will benefit your company and your customers, not just today, but for years to come. The fact that IBM has been here before gives me perspective and confidence. I believe history will look back on this as the moment when the digital transformation of business and society suddenly accelerated. And together, we laid the groundwork for the post-COVID world. So it's a privilege to lead a company like IBM at a time like this. With that, let's get to work. If you look at the technology landscape today, hybrid cloud and AI are the two dominant forces driving digital transformation. As I talk to you, I see four underlying reasons that drive hybrid cloud adoption. I'll call them the four imperatives of hybrid cloud. And this, I owe a lot of credit to Pat Gelsinger, from whom I've taken some of this. The imperatives of history, choice, physics, and law. Let's look at them one by one. The imperative of history. As a company, you rarely start from scratch. You have complex workloads and apps. You have messaging, data and transactional systems, all integrated into your operational and security systems. Hybrid cloud is about meeting you where you're at in terms of the IT infrastructure choices you've made and the various places you will do computing, whether it's in a public cloud, a private cloud, or on-premise. The second imperative of choice. Relying on only one infrastructure, like one public cloud, locks you in. And perhaps more importantly, it locks you into only one company's innovation. So hybrid cloud is about giving you the choice, the freedom to host your own software one day. Maybe next year you move it to a cloud provider. Maybe a few years down the road you move it somewhere else. The third imperative is of physics, and we can call that the speed of light. You simply can't run a factory floor with robotic arms that requires a 50 millisecond response time through the cloud. In many cases, your IT systems need to be physically close to your data and services. And the final imperative of law. Where you are in the world, physically, which nation matters. It determines which legal framework you have to comply with, whether that's GDPR, the California Consumer Privacy Act in the United States, or any other regulations. These imperatives are based on inescapable realities that are unlikely to change overnight. Data sovereignty is another such imperative. These all suggest that hybrid cloud as a major force in tech is here to stay. Now, to help you, our clients, capitalize on the massive opportunity hybrid cloud represents, we have made big, bold bets. Most notably, we have joined forces with Red Hat to give you the unique ability to build mission-critical applications once and run them anywhere. With this crisis, the importance of hybrid cloud and AI has accelerated. What has changed is the pace at which they are being adopted. Transformation journeys that were going to last a few years are now being compacted into months. Businesses are questioning and transforming their operating models. This has both immediate and long-term consequences. They are thinking about how to use technology to reassess and reimagine modes of consumption, supply, interaction, and productivity. They're looking for long-lasting answers on what they can do with technology to address the key issues that COVID-19 has brought to light. How can supply chains become even more resilient to resist global shocks? Which workload should I move to the public cloud? Which IT tasks can I automate so that my workforce can focus on higher value ones? How can I secure my IT infrastructure, including remote working? How can I use AI to handle the massive increase in calls? If there's anything the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us, it's the critical importance of technology solutions that enable speed, flexibility, insight, and innovation. Choosing which technology platforms power your business is the most consequential decision you can make. Technology platforms are the basis for competitive advantage in the 21st century. They determine how quickly you can pivot to new market opportunities, how well you serve your clients, how much you can scale, and how fast you can respond to a crisis like the one we are facing today. On that last point, let me give you a quick example of one of our clients, CLS Systems. CLS Systems is a global financial market infrastructure, and they settle more than half of the world's foreign exchange transactions. With COVID-19, we worked hard with them to ensure that the entire platform could withstand the unprecedented surge in demand. In fact, the platform had to handle an all-time high. To give you a sense of how much that's worth in financial terms, that's over $13 trillion in value with over 3 million underlying transactions. Now, I want to introduce a client who understands the importance of using technology to transform the way its business operates better than anyone. Anthem is the largest healthcare provider in the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association in the United States. They have close to 40 million members. Their long-term goal is to transform their company from health insurance to a healthcare provider. This is part of a digital transformation that has been radically accelerated by COVID-19. To help us understand them better, I had the pleasure last week of talking to Rajiv Ronanki, Senior Vice President and Chief Data Officer for Anthem. Like me, I'm sure you'll enjoy hearing his perspective in this video. So team, please join me in welcoming Rajiv Ronanki from Anthem. Rajiv is Senior Vice President and leads all the digital efforts at Anthem. And Rajiv comes from a really distinguished background. He's led work around life sciences, healthcare, AI, analytics. We couldn't have a more perfect guest. Welcome, Rajiv.
Thanks, Arvind. Pleasure being here.
So, Rajiv, can you share with us a little bit of how Anthem's vision for the future of healthcare holds? It's so important, especially now as we're going through COVID and once we emerge from COVID-19.
Yeah, Arvind, great question. And first of all, I think we already had set in motion a number of things that defined, the future of healthcare. And we all know that the current crisis has, in many ways, significantly highlighted the shortcomings and the challenges of the U.S. healthcare system. So what are we doing about it, right? So first, let's examine the challenges. I think today healthcare is largely reactive. And it's kind of a retrospective look at events that have already happened in the past. And the opportunity that we have in front of us is to really reshape healthcare as a more predictive, more proactive, and more personalized, holistic solution that addresses health and well-being end to end, and uses all of the technologies that are available at our disposal. And I think finally kind of brings healthcare into the future, as we have seen in many other industries.
Rajiv, that really does resonate. First of all, as an end user, and not just me, my entire family, we're all end users of the kind of visions you're describing. Can you share an example of the kind of services you're building out as you translate your vision into reality?
Yeah, Arvind, I mean, us too as consumers of health, we're dealing with a really complex system that's, even for the ones that are in the industry, is very hard to navigate. So we're trying to bring a lot of simplicity to the US healthcare system and make it really consumer friendly. So one example of that is kind of our suite of digital capabilities that are branded under our Sydney brand offering. And what Sydney does is it's a simple digital front door to all of healthcare. So if you have a question about your health status, if you need to consult with a doctor, if you need to have a televisit through either video or text, we facilitate that. As well as we bring the power of AI and personalization via digital by taking advantage and leveraging all of our data, of which we've got tremendous foundation of data assets that when we apply AI to that foundation of data assets, we can translate it into a rich set of insights. And then we're delivering those insights just in time, just when people need it, in context, to really simplify the end-to-end experience.
It sounds actually quite intriguing, but Rajiv, as we all know, especially those of us who have been around technology for a while, these applications are sometimes easy to build, but then their foundations are not always secure. So as you think about what it takes to sort of deliver these at scale with all the flexibility that you need, how are you architecting these systems to support the vision? Kind of going back, what is sort of the foundations you're building it on?
Yeah, so again, an excellent question, Arvind. And I think healthcare has seen its fair share of point solutions, and those point solutions have proliferated. And while they address specific issues really well, the end-to-end experience still is very suboptimal. So to address that, we're taking a very platform-centric approach. And what I mean by that is, there are capabilities that need to be developed, and those capabilities need to be integrated into an end-to-end experience, and then those experiences need to get delivered to our stakeholders. But how do we do that? So we start with our data foundation. On top of that, we're building interoperability of that data into something that could be made cohesive and user-friendly. And then using our predictive and AI capabilities, we're turning data into insights and then serving those insights up into applications for our various stakeholders. But to do so, we have to build it on a flexible, scalable architecture. And we're leveraging many of the IBM capabilities, including OpenShift, to enable us to do that at scale. And then by making the platform very open, and inviting developers to participate in it, we're creating an ecosystem that is flexible, friendly, and agile, that enables us to work with a broad community out there to create solutions at speed and at scale.
Wow, that's actually really intriguing to hear all that. I mean, like, you're bringing so much of what we talk about to life through your example around open platforms, flexible platforms like OpenShift, developer ecosystems, AI, analytics, data. It really is sort of the modern world come kind of screeching in. So Rajiv, as you are thinking about your architecture, you have a lot of options out there. While you were very gracious about mentioning some of the IBM pieces, why did you select IBM as your partner on this endeavor, as opposed to all the other choices you have out there?
Yeah, Arvind, I think COVID-19 and this crisis, on the other hand, I think we've done a really good job with the AI software data supply chain. So there's good availability of data and early indicators. There's widespread availability of algorithms and science, and then turning that science into insights and applications for our end users. So in some ways, when we look at the AI supply chain for Anthem, IBM's architecture, and specifically around the OpenShift and Kubernetes containerization architecture, enables us to kind of manage our AI supply chain very efficiently and with high quality. And as with any supply chain, we need to be able to integrate lots of third parties. We need to work with lots of partners, including companies like Cognitive Scale. So to bring all these third parties into a cohesive end-to-end solution, we need standards, we need interoperability, we need easy developer tools, and we need scalable platforms. So I think IBM is providing that end-to-end set of capabilities for us really effectively, and really integrating those capabilities so that we don't have to piece it together ourselves.
Wow, Rajiv, you're almost like giving my stump speech. So you're talking about, not just this crisis, but the digital transition is accelerating, so to speak. We're bringing together the virtual and the physical world. You're creating experiential touch points with your customers, albeit in a healthcare context through your Sydney application. I love the term, the data and the AI supply chain, which I think we all believe is critical, because solving the data problem is critical to solving the AI pieces. Building on open standards using things like OpenShift, which in turn encapsulates containers and Kubernetes. And I think being secure, because in your world, I think being secure and having trust in your partners is as critical as the actual experience. Is that a fair summary of what you've just sort of taken us through?
Absolutely. I think in integrating a diverse supply chain of data and AI capabilities, I think trust and validation and security and quality are super important. And I think the IBM Foundation for us, provides that really effectively.
All right, team, please join me in thanking Rajiv for taking some time from his busy schedule. You can only imagine how busy anybody who's in the healthcare business is these days, as they are helping out all of their clients and helping us all through this crisis. Thank you.
Thanks, Arvind.
It's a privilege to partner with such innovative clients as Anthem. As you have seen in our discussion, the journey Anthem is on to go from reactive to proactive, predictive, and personalized care is fascinating. In fact, I believe that Anthem is setting a powerful example for the industry to follow. Now, none of us know what will happen in the future, but I do know what IBM is committed to going forward. Our commitment to our clients is we will continue to apply and deepen our understanding of the unique needs of your industry, your regulatory requirements, your security posture, but also the opportunities you need to seize to transform how you deliver value to your clients. We will further our leadership in good tech, developing and deploying technology solutions you and your customers can trust. We will foster a more entrepreneurial culture to move faster and to continue to make it easier to work with us. And finally, we remain client obsessed, listening to your needs, preparing you for an uncertain future, supporting your journeys to hybrid cloud and AI. To that end, we are making a series of major announcements at Think that will make good on these commitments. On AI, I'm extremely thrilled to share with you the launch of AI for IT. AI for IT are capabilities that give every CIO, every technologist, the ability to automate their IT infrastructures, to immediately reduce cost, and to be more resilient. A key part of this is a product called Watson AI Ops. Watson AI Ops relies on AI to automate how enterprises self-detect, diagnose, and respond to IT anomalies in real time. To give a sense, unforeseen IT incidents costs business $265 billion in annual revenue. The problem is that many businesses are consumed with fixing problems after they occur instead of preventing them before they happen. Watson AI Ops tackles this challenge. And what's more, Watson AI Ops is built on the latest release of Red Hat OpenShift. So, it can run across any hybrid cloud environment. It also works with technologies at the center of today's distributed work environment, including Slack and Box. I strongly believe that AI can play a critical role in assisting clients during this uncertain time. And AI for IT is the perfect illustration. To delve deeper into the powerful role AI for IT can play for your business, let me show this brief video. Rob Thomas, our SVP of IBM Cloud and Data Platform, had the opportunity to discuss the launch of Watson AI Ops with the CEO of Box, Aaron Levy.
When you just think about how much manual work we do to run our businesses, to manage our IT environments, it's just not gonna scale. So especially in a world where you have dozens or hundreds of technologies that you have to manage now. I mean, think about the hybrid cloud. You have applications, you have infrastructure that's managed in lots of different environments. And then think about the applications that your workplace is using. You're using Box, you're using Slack, you're using Workday, you're using ServiceNow. And so how do you make sense of all of the data, the events, the security, the workflows across all those? The only way to do it at scale at some point is to have some degree of intelligence. And so what you're doing with Watson AI Ops, I think is a perfect sort of form of how you start to solve some of those problems at scale.
More than 20 years ago, experts predicted that every company would become an internet company. I'm predicting today that every company will become an AI company. Not because they can, but because they must. As you heard in the video, AI is the only way to scale innovation, insight, and expertise. Now, let me move to cloud, where I'm also excited to share with you two important announcements. The first announcement relates to one of the most consequential cloud projects we have launched last year, the financial services ready public cloud. Before I get into the details, let me pause for a moment and tell you a bit about the financial services ready public cloud. I'll tell you what it is and what problems it aims to solve. It's no secret that banks operate in a complex environment, perhaps like no other entities. Think of all the problems banks have to tackle as they move workloads to the cloud. Security, governance, data protection, resiliency, privacy, compliance, with 20 or maybe more regulatory bodies and thousands of compliance checks to perform. To say that they live in a constrained environment is an understatement. Add to that the other external forces, like the swift rise of fintech, which has deeply changed customer habits, norms, and expectations. And you get a sense of the immense pressure the banks have to deal with. It's to address these issues that we launched the Financial Services Ready Cloud. Now, to reinforce this, IBM is launching a new program for independent software vendors, ISVs, and software as a service, SaaS providers. This program is designed to help them demonstrate that they have met the stringent security, resiliency, and compliance requirements of their customers, the banks. And they can do this on IBM's Financial Services Ready public cloud. We're so excited about the value they will bring to their customers. Take a breath. The second announcement. We are also unveiling a tech preview of IBM Cloud Satellite. IBM Cloud Satellite extends cloud services that anywhere a client needs them. It's delivered as a service on-premise or at the edge. So, clients can increase their business agility by automating deployment and management of cloud-native services across all their computing environments for both development and operations. What this means is that with IBM Cloud Satellite, our clients can run workloads where it makes the most sense. IBM's public cloud is explicitly architected with an open source Kubernetes foundation. This offers greater portability for IBM Cloud Satellites. So clients can access a rich catalog of cloud services. They can provision these API-driven services with the click of a button, deployed to any environment, but operated as a service with the built-in expertise of IBM. IBM Cloud Satellite also simplifies service visibility and control and gives you access to a single dashboard, common identity, common access management, and centralized observability across all your IBM Cloud Satellites. And I'll share one last announcement we're making today. This is around 5G and edge computing. With 5G and edge computing, businesses can bring computation and data storage closer to where data is created, and this makes it easier to act on the insights that are generated from the data. This creates massive opportunities for new products, platforms, and experiences in virtually every industry. That said, with computing done in so many places, on public and private clouds, and now increasingly at the edge, the challenge for business is to connect all the different elements into a cohesive platform that enables agility and rapid delivery of these new features and services. Businesses need capabilities that allow them to globally deploy features, functions, and security patches consistently everywhere computing is done. They need to apply increased levels of automations to make it all efficient, scalable, and secured. After all, the world is becoming software defined, and both consumers and business customers now expect that the products they use improve continuously and get better and better over time. To help businesses and telcos deal with these challenges, we are announcing new services and capabilities. The new Edge and Telco Network Cloud solutions are built on Red Hat OpenStack and Red Hat OpenShift. They enable clients to run workloads anywhere, from a data center to multiple clouds to the edge. We are confident that these capabilities will help business capitalize on the opportunity that 5G and edge computing represent. Let's hear a little more about this work in the following video. Paul Cormier, the CEO of Red Hat, had an interesting discussion with Srini Kalapala, the Vice President of Technology and Supplier Strategy for Verizon.
Thanks so much for joining us here at Red Hat Summit 2020, Srini.
It's my pleasure, Paul. 5G will be the truly cloud-native network compared to the previous version of the networks. We're certainly working with you in bringing that that capability, the platform layer into our networks. Whether all the way from RAN to the core networks, it'll be fully built on cloud-native set of application, cloud-native stack. What it allows us is that it then allows us to scale the way web scale companies have been showcasing their technology. It allows us to be as flexible as the technology allows us to, so that we can deliver new services and new capabilities in a much quicker and customer-centric manner. And then finally, with this kind of a cloud infrastructure that we're going to deploy across the footprint, it allows us to empower and enable the edge ecosystem so that the others can start innovating and truly start delivering things that we haven't even imagined of, right? I mean, AR, VR, and whatever else. So there are lots of things in pipeline.
I hope you enjoyed that video. The 5G and edge computing generation is coming quickly, and it's poised to have as much impact on enterprise computing as mobile phones did for consumers. Seizing on this opportunity means you got to make important architectural choices now. And as we move into this new era, we fundamentally believe that winners in the 5G and edge era will be those who embrace a hybrid cloud approach based on open technologies and standards. We are truly excited about all these announcements. AI, cloud, 5G are amongst the most powerful core technologies all of you will use to transform how your business operates. To these, we can add blockchain and quantum, which will have a critical role to play in the digital platforms of the future. Of course, the future doesn't depend on technology alone. It depends on people. And going forward, we're all going to compete on trust, on values, and our responsibility to the wider community of people whose lives we touch. IBM has long embraced a corporate philosophy that prioritizes stakeholders, not just shareholders. Inspired by this commitment, we'll continue to model the industry standard for what good tech looks like. Example, Call for Code. For those of you who don't know, Call for Code is our global call to action for all developers to apply their skills for solutions against disaster preparedness and relief. This year's competition is focused on the challenges of climate change and COVID-19. Given the urgency of these issues, we created accelerated tracks for developer solutions on each of those. We'll announce the initial top 3 winning entries during this event and partner with those teams to speed their innovations into the field. But we're also keeping the COVID-19 Call for Code search open through July to encourage continued innovation. So if you're a developer, please join us by going to callforcode.org and lend your expertise to the cause. As difficult as these times might be, we see plenty of light at the end of the tunnel. As we deal with this global public health crisis, IBM continues to be an important player, not just watching from the sidelines. I'll close with a few words of thanks to our clients for your business and trust as we navigate this unprecedented crisis together. I want you to know that we are carefully thinking about how and when we all return to the workplace. One thing is for sure, we should do this together in a consistent manner. This conference is designed to help you, to accelerate your path to digital transformation, to enhance the basis of your competitive advantage and growth for the better days ahead. I'm confident we'll benefit greatly from this time together. And I know that with your continued faith in IBM, we will emerge from these challenging times stronger than ever. Thank you.